Hey guys, welcome to Chef Grace's Place. Today we have Pedro from Shave Ice by the Sea. You can actually go and try his shave ice at the Tiki Market in Riviera Beach, Florida on Sundays from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. But they're delicious, and why not you start? You tell us how your family got into the shave ice business and, how from Nicaragua.
Well, it all started when we were living in Nicaragua, Managua, Nicaragua, and this was back in the 80s. So Nicaragua was going through a lot of turmoil politically and war-wise. I mean, there was a change of government at the time. So my mom decided to open up a shave ice business in Nicaragua, and she actually started selling sodas and natural drink or natural refreshments, and then eventually she built on and started doing the shave ices in Nicaragua. And then we did that for a little bit over there. Like I said, Nicaragua was going through a lot of turmoils in the 80s. So at the end of 1989, we moved to the United States, and she didn't pursue the business here. She had there was a problem with the language barrier, and she didn't drive. She didn't know her way around here. Plus, here in America is very bureaucratic. And what I mean by that is uh, you have to be registered. There's a lot of applications you have to fill out here in order to
There's a
participate
lot
in
of
events.
to jump through. So
Yeah,
if you don't speak English,
yeah,
well,
especially.
write
So
it.
then 23 years went by, and I was selling cars, and I know my mom wanted to do the business with her sister, which her sister's here in the United States now. But for years they just never got together, or they never were able to coordinate to get the business going. So I was selling cars. I had a little bit of money saved up, and I was not happy selling cars, as in I couldn't see myself selling cars as a career. Uh, so then I invested my money, and I ended up buying the machines, uh, the tent, the tables, the bottles, anything, all the equipment that we needed to get started. And then I just started making phone calls, trying to get into green markets. And, you know, 4 years, 5 years later, we're still doing green markets, but now we're looking into opening up maybe a food truck, maybe an establishment, see where this takes us.
So one of the things that I'm one of the biggest reasons I was like, I got to interview this guy too, was because the product itself is delicious. But um, when I think of shave ice, I think of the syrups they put on are very artificial. But you guys use real fruit. You were saying you make all your own syrups.
All
So
our syrups are made from fresh fruits, from scratch, like you guys, like they say in the restaurant industry, made from scratch. So yeah, so we make all our syrups from scratch. We have
is
we
that traditional or is that just
In
something
my
you
country it is. Here in America, I guess because people don't know how to do stuff here, they're not very hands-on. They just buy like the artificial stuff and they just call it a shave ice, and or they get the syrup, they pour it over the ice and call it a day. But where I'm from, we actually go through seasons, and each season there's different fruit flavors that we use. For example, mangoes, we have a season for mangoes, tamarind, pineapple. Well, pineapple's growing all year round over there. But yeah, the idea is to get the fruits that are in season to make the syrups.
I like that. That's awesome. Um, are you experimenting? I see you're growing some
Papayas. Well, there's my papaya tree. No, that's just a little garden we have here, just to have a garden. It's funny you asked about the papaya. Some flavors, some fruits you really can't make into syrups just because of the consistency of the fruits. We don't make like blueberry syrup because blueberry doesn't really have a strong taste like mangoes and pineapples and strawberries.
and you're not using the right blueberries. That's the problem. You
Maybe
get
we're not using the right blueberries. That's right. That could be an issue too.
what about a strawberry though? That's so
Strawberries, we use strawberries. Yeah.
you ever put like one of my favorite combinations is strawberry basil. I know you got some basil growing over there.
It's funny you mentioned that because I mean, in uh, in the in Japan and Korea and in that side of the world, they experiment with a bunch of different flavors, like you were saying, the strawberry with. I think I saw a recipe one time with balsamic vinegar.
Oh yeah, that's a Italian thing too. Um,
Strawberries with balsamic.
yeah, and then you put it like on a sweetened ricotta. It's really
Well,
good.
yeah. See, what happens is like my mom is more of the person that elaborates the syrups.
He's a
I'm
chef.
kind of like I'm the front face. I'm
Okay,
the I'm the one that sells it,
and you work the machine too.
and I
That's
work the machine.
a lot of muscle right there.
You'd be surprised. I ended up getting a tennis elbow for a little bit for how much ices we were crushing. So yes, I did suffer from tennis elbow for a little bit. We were working out of the beach here in Lake Worth for a little bit, and yeah, I mean when you're doing hundreds of cups a day, I mean it's takes a little toll on your body.
You have to alternate somehow.
Plus, we also do we make our ice. Our ice has something to do with it too. We don't use the little cubes of ice. We actually use the big blocks of ice. We actually make our ice. So sometimes I have to get the ice
Shredded right
down.
in front of you guys. It's pretty cool. Like to
It's an experience.
exactly table side service right there. Like it's really good. It's like whoa, they're shaving it right in front of you.
So yeah, so and the ice consistency has to do a lot with the ice, you know, with the final product. Like it, the professional the professional ice shavers, they use the blocks of ice. We don't use the little cubes of ice just because of the little cubes become real gritty. Whereas the cubes of ice, the machine shaves the ice, so it's like coming dust. Like literally, it just becomes dust in front of you.
Yeah, so it melts in your mouth more. Whereas like if you had the cubes, they would like it's basically like you're refreezing the shaves, so the crystals would get bigger.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's a major that's something of very importance to us. The ice. We everywhere we go, we have to carry our own ice. We don't buy the cubes of ice. We make our own ice. When I can, if not, I actually had to go on a little mission to find who makes or who does blocks of ice in Florida, like the companies that make ice.
Yeah.
Most of them just do the cubes of ice because they could do hundreds of pounds of ice per minute. They have machines where it's just like just dropping pounds of ice per minute, uh, to for them to resell. Whereas a block of ice, out of 3 companies that I contacted here in Palm Beach County, 2 of them did the blocks of ice, but one of them kind of cheated. One of them would use the little cubes of ice and then compress the cubes of ice and then make it into a block. Whereas the other guy that I got it from or get it from, better said, he actually he has like what do you call the molds to actually make the blocks of ice. But he only does it for certain customers because making those blocks of ice I believe it takes them anywhere between 6 and 7 hours, half a day just to make the blocks of ice. It takes longer time for the ice to freeze.
So this ice, is it like compressed or something? So there's not a lot of air in it. So it's like a clear ice, or is it?
That's the best. Clear ice. I mean, that is the best. And then and that breaks down to, I would say, how cold you keep the freezer, so that again the molecules compress and it forms a solid block of ice.
I can't remember. Did you have a chest freezer? Yeah.
I don't have a chest freezer at the market. I have the chest freezer here, and I have a big cooler that I carry around about anywhere between 100 and 150 pounds of ice at a time to do markets.
You're gonna need a good freezer. I mean, cooler. Is it like a Yeti? Like what kind of
It's
cooler?
like it's an igloo. It's not a Yeti, but it's an igloo.
All right.
That's getting really fancy with the Yetis.
Hey, you won't have anything melt on you.
Well, I got a two-stage. I got a two-stage step where I have my igloo cooler where I keep all the ice, and then I have another little cooler where I'm just transferring what I'm gonna need for the moment on that little cooler, and then that's the one I'm constantly opening and closing. Otherwise, if I was to open and close the big cooler, they would melt like on the spot, or the ice would get soft, and then it becomes like the cubes of ice where it becomes gritty.
So what are your favorite flavors?
My favorite flavors. To be real with you, I would have to say the pineapple, but the pineapple that I get in my hometown, just because the way it is served and the way it is presented, and that's how I grew up. Like in Nicaragua, it's a norm, or it's not norm, but it's not rare to find a person pushing a cart, just like they have here, like the ice cream carts, and they have like the little bells ringing. So you have a gentleman pushing a cart with a block of ice, and it's done by hand. They have like the scrapers that they shave the like wood, and you shave the wood like this. So they pretty much do the same thing with the ice. They shave the ice, and then they serve it either in a cup or in a bag, and then you're good to go. So it's all about, really for me, it's about the nostalgic, because I grew up doing that. Now it's kind of like a business, or it's not kind of like a business. It is a business. So I don't really have a favorite one. I rather get it from where I was born or grew up getting it.
So where do you get the fruits now?
Depends. For example, my mangoes, sometimes I source them locally when I can. For example, I go around, I ask my friends that are landscapers that whenever they're working in houses, if they know of a mango tree that has mangoes and we need them, if I could go get them. So I literally go pick the mangoes right off the tree. The strawberries, I buy them at the store.
Yeah.
And
that's all right. You know, they're still fresh strawberries. You know,
they're fresh. I mean, it is real strawberries. They're fresh, absolutely, but they're not. Those are not locally sourced. And then what's another problem?
Though, even though they're in the store, because Florida grows most of the country's strawberries.
Really, I did not know that.
It's more in northern Florida. There's even a strawberry festival.
I did not know that.
Around this time, I think. So if you wanted to add strawberries to your garden, they probably do pretty good. Actually, yeah. Should start a garden. I can help you start a garden if you want.
I got, well, if I could show you, I'll show you later what we have growing, but mainly we have bamboo.
Yeah.
And then some stuff. Like I was telling you, we got basil growing and cilantro.
Do you have like
it's herbs? We have like a little herb garden growing here. Not a fruit garden, just a little herb garden.
Okay, I'll have to show you later my ridiculous patio where I built basically like a giant raised bed thing out of storage containers.
And okay, like the plastic storage containers?
Yeah, but I made sure they were like BPA free and stuff, you know. So I wasn't going to be leaching all that into my food. But right now I have a sunflower that it might get me in trouble because it's almost at the beginning of the balcony of the person above me.
They're gonna have a sunflower. They're gonna be looking at a sunflower when they wake up in the morning out their balcony.
Yeah. It's looking pretty cool. And I got a lot of tomatoes and I got all herbs and stuff. If you need some basil, I got you. And sage, I got everything out there. But it just saves so much money, and it's a lot of you can't beat
We
price.
tried growing pineapples, but it just takes too long. It's a 2-year process to grow pineapples, and that's just to get one pineapple.
Yeah, that's not worth it. But a mango tree, like if you could get a one that was already mature, maybe that would be worth it because you get them every season.
Yeah.
But
Luckily, this right now, this time around, Ali, the girl that runs the grain market at the Tiki Market, she says she's got fresh mangoes. So that's another person I'm getting mangoes from. So,
yeah, I mean, you can use. Is that the only market you're at right now, or are you going to be in more?
we're due we're due to we're doing the paperwork to get into the Clematis by Night and participate more in West Palm Beach City events. So that's pretty much in the works. That I say we should be at the West Palm Beach or Clematis by Night maybe within the next 2 to 3 weeks. Just gotta.
I didn't even know what that was. What's Clematis by Night?
Clematis by Night is an event that's been going on in West Palm Beach waterfront for every Thursdays for about 20 something years. And it draws a pretty large crowd of families. It's very family oriented. They have vendors, they have live music. It's every Thursday down by the waterfront, and it's a nice event. It's pretty cool.
I live like right by there, so I'll definitely come have some shave ice then.
Absolutely.
So your mom was working the stand with you, so she's going to be the chef, and you're the front guy. Are we?
That's how we pretty much. That's how the team works. She loves to cook. She loves to be in the kitchen. She likes to experiment and come up with new recipes or new methods to creating dishes. So yeah, she's the one that creates all the syrups, and I'm pretty much the front guy that.
You're the muscle. You do all the ice.
The muscle, yeah. Hurry up.
What is the story behind the gummies in the
gummies? The gummies was actually the idea of a worker of mine. She's on timeout right now. She's not working with me. She's doing something else, but she's very creative. She's very artistic. And when we were working together, she would send me pictures of what other people were doing, for example, in New Orleans, in Texas, in California. And we pretty much just rode with what they're doing. Like, for example, like I was telling you, in Japan and in Korea and in that side of the world, they put I don't know, I can't think of the name right now, but they put some kind of beans in the icy. They actually sweeten.
They make red bean flavor. They make.
I don't know the name of the beans, but they put beans on the ices. What's another thing they do?
Sesame is a big one.
Ice cream. They actually put ice cream in the ices. So there's a big culture in Japan and Korea and that side of the world with the shave ice. They actually call it the big hotels. They actually have a competition. Who has the best shave ice in the country?
Does shave ice come from Asia?
From my understanding, it originated from that side of the world. I understand that the Hawaiians, when they were cultivating, what do you call it, sugarcane, when they were cultivating the sugarcane plants, they would get blocks of ice, and with the machetes, they would shave the blocks, make fine ice, and then with the resin of the sugarcane, they would sweeten the ice, and that was their shave ice.
Oh, all right. Because I remember watching it was like a documentary on a like competitive food person, and I think it was in Japan. He went to eat at this restaurant, and it was like an honor or whatever to have him eat there. And so at the end, they gave him like this mountain of shave ice. Like it was like, I mean, it was definitely like this tall, you know.
Oh yeah, I think I seen the one you're talking about.
But they told him it was like some other flavor, and it wound up being like hot chili flavor. And
Well, that's something you could add to it. Like for example, here we were messing with tahine, and you could add tahine and chamoy to the shave ice, which is not spicy, but it's more of a salty taste. It's a good combination because you have the sweet and salty, and then you have the ice that waters it down.
what's tahine? What is that?
Tahine is a Mexican seasoning. You could call it, and it's a mixture of salts and peppers, and it's pretty much it. Salt and pepper,
Like
and you
hot,
could
like pepper, like hot peppers, right?
not hot pepper. It's more salty than anything. Not hot.
Well, I mean, like, it's not like it's more like a chili powder, not like a peppercorn.
Something like that. Yeah, you could call it like a chili powder.
Okay.
And that's delicious on pineapples or mangoes, right? Like really ripe mangoes. You put that tahine on it. It's delicious.
Spicy margaritas.
Something like that, pretty much. And that's another thing we've been messing around with. Never in our mind did it cross to add alcohol to the ices, but apparently, but apparently, mixing vodka or rum to the syrups, it's a good combination.
And tequila. I tried it with my last one.
Did you tried it? You had rum at that time that day?
Oh no, I had tequila when we went home.
Oh, how was that?
Oh, it was good. It was pineapple, strawberry, and something.
Tequila.
Yeah, I don't know what other flavor was in there. There were 3 flavors in there. You made like a light one for me.
Okay, let me ask you, what colors were there?
Red, yellow, and
Baby blue?
no.
No blue. So, because that's how I differentiate the flavors depending on the color.
What
We
was
don't
the-
use it. We don't use any artificial flavors except on the lemonade. And the lemonade, I ended up adding blue, natural food color blue, and that is just to grab kids' attention, because they just want to go there and get the blue.
I got something. I got something for you that might help you.
Oh, that's to add the colors.
Yeah, it's called butterfly. It's a butterfly pea flower.
Okay.
And naturally, this actually might be cool for kids because naturally it's like a bright blue.
Okay.
Actually, on my YouTube channel, I made a margarita with it. I infused the tequila. No, I infused the simple syrup with the blue. But then, as soon as you put an acid to it, like lemon juice or something, it turns purple.
Oh, nice.
So it's pretty cool, and it kind of tastes like Gatorade to me. But it's like they had this rain flavor Gatorade, and that's what it reminds me of. But it's a way to have like a natural food dye without,
Yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah, if you could. Yeah, it's called butterfly. What is it called again?
It's a butterfly pea flower. So it's flower of like almost like a string bean, like a pea pod.
Okay.
And so they dry out the flowers and they use them for they actually use it for tea. Like it's I got mine in Thailand, but they're actually pretty common around here. In like an Asian market or whatever. You can buy them dried. And you
I
can
didn't know that. It's good to know.
but it's like bright blue. It's pretty cool. Like it's like blueberries aren't even that blue, like as long as you don't add acid to it, then it's purple. So it's pretty cool,
Good to know.
And you could grow them in your garden if you wanted to.
My garden, yeah.
Is your I mean, if you have a house, like you have a garden. That's what I'm saying. You look
I'm
like
sorry, say what again?
you look like you're at a house. So I think you have a garden. I gotta show you this garden out there. It's ridiculous.
Yes, I would definitely like to see those flowers. I'd definitely like to see that because that like I said, we've been using artificial food coloring, but if we could keep it all natural, that would be great. Because
Because
everything
that's the
else,
only thing you're using that's artificial, right?
that's the only thing that we're using that's artificial. Everything else is all natural.
Yeah, let's get rid of that. Hold on. Let me get the flower.
So what is that? Is that the flower you're telling me about?
Yeah, they look like this.
Okay, I think I've seen it. Oh, you know what? I've seen those on. I've actually bought these edible flowers that I was decorating my ices with, and I remember seeing those in one of the in another batch of flowers, dry flowers that I bought because originally I was putting God, I can't remember the name, but they were like pink flowers. They you could see them all. You see them all the time in drinks, but then those flowers I saw that they put in baked goods, like in cookies, and they would be like on the top of the cookies.
Sometimes, but they could also be. I think violets look pretty similar to this when they're dry. Um, I don't know. There's a couple flowers that look similar. I'm just gonna put mine in some water. See if we can get the dye out of it. Maybe later. Later. You gotta go watch that video.
Now I will, definitely I will. And I'm intrigued.
Yeah, the magical margarita video. It's the magic part.
Surprise.
Surprise! Spoiler alert. um yeah, so besides that, all natural. That's good. It's funny that you'd make the lemonade blue out of everything. Are you selling you're selling lemonade by itself?
Not by itself. Or
Lemon
you mean like as a drink or as in the ices?
That's what I'm asking. Is the lemonade by itself or is it in the it's a flavor? Lemon
It's a
flavor?
flavor. It's a flavor. It's a lemonade flavor simple syrup because that it's that's a simple syrup mixed with lemonade. It's not like the rest of the ices or the rest of the syrups that we make. For example, the pineapples, the mangoes, the strawberry, passion fruit, the tamarind, guavas. Well, guava is hard to find. We gotta buy that in a frozen pulp, but all that is natural
Yeah, yeah.
and it's pureed. We get the fruits and puree it, and then create a simple syrup out of that.
There might like when I was working as a pastry chef, there's a couple companies where you can buy because like we could not when I was living up north, like you can't buy fresh passion fruit. You know what I mean? Like it's expensive or guava. Um and like you could use guava paste, but sometimes it's just too much sugar and not enough guava, you know? So there are these companies that will actually you can buy like quarts of it's like concentrated puree, um, which is what people use a lot. I gotta remember the name of it, but good quality stuff. But a lot of it is good because they don't add anything to it. They and that because they're freezing it and they know they don't have to care about what it looks like, they can pick it at its peak ripeness and then puree it and freeze it, and you actually get the best flavor that way because a lot of the fruits that you buy fresh in the grocery store, they're not
Well,
picked
well,
at.
that is crucial for us. Like it's the fruits gotta be right. The fruits has gotta be like at a certain point. Otherwise, it has no taste to it. Like, and we had that problem with like pineapples and mangoes. That's the big ones that we have. If they're not ripe enough,
Yeah.
it doesn't have a good flavor.
So I really think you gotta do a strawberry basil in there.
You know what? We there, yes, I agree, and that would be interesting. But we haven't really experimented with a lot of flavors just because we still don't have a storefront where that kind of syrup, it really, I would say that we can't have it sitting for too long. And if it's not popular, like we just did a batch for nothing because if it doesn't sell, then we're stuck with the syrup.
What kind of ratio are you using, like sugar to water? Or is that a secret?
That's a secret. Yeah, we can't talk. We can't. That's confidential. It's confidential.
Only the chef knows.
Yeah, I'm gonna see Chef Grace's ices in the other market,
Yeah.
and then you have to dump. You have to find a mini me to be your muscle.
Noel's got all the muscle. I don't even. You should probably just hire Noel. He used to help me out when I was working at I was running this cookie and brownie place, and we had an order for 40,000 cookies before Christmas, and we had 5 people scooping them by hand, and it was not ideal. It was not ideal because we were supposed to get in this machine that would we would make the dough and we'd load the machine, and then it would kind of squirt it out and cut it into
Right.
and
Yeah. I mean, I was never. I've never been much of a experienced cook, but cooking is it's a little procedure, and you have to have the right equipment and the right mindset to do, especially large quantities, like you're saying you're doing, 40,000 cookies. Now I find myself that I have to be on top of what I have, what I need, and and I have to keep proportions. I have to keep in mind that I can't buy too much of this because then it takes space in my freezer, and there's always a check and balance. Like I have to, if I make mangoes, maybe I have the freezer open to buy more mangoes for the following week, and same thing goes with the strawberries and pineapples. I got to keep in mind, how much I have to make at a time.
sounds like you need another freezer.
Sounds like I need another freezer, bigger freezer. Yes. Eventually, we're growing. I mean, if this leads to a food truck or storefront, then we'll be definitely experimenting with more flavors because that'd be easier to hold and preserve and keep inventory. Where right now we're pretty limited since we're doing pop-up markets, and so we can't really have a lot of flavors because it takes space in our refrigerator. And which I had to buy another refrigerator. So there is 2 refrigerators in the house and a freezer. So that was a big step up for us.
Slowly but surely. I saw you working on your new logo too. It looks good.
Yeah. We have a new logo coming out. It's one of them Polynesians. I don't know if they're called totem, but they're the carvings, the wood carvings out of that you see in Hawaii and stuff like that. It was just an idea, you know.
Is that because of the Hawaiian ancestry?
No, that came about because we wanted to do it, and the last place where we were serving, they didn't want to let us have a Hawaiian Polynesian type look. So because I'm not working at that location anymore, I decided to do it at the Tiki Market, and it just happened to be that their theme is a tiki theme. So it just worked hand in hand.
That works out. Cool. Is there anything else you want to add to the podcast?
Anything else we want to add to the market? Ice wise, ideally, they're called candy ice, which are like popsicles, but they're not they're popsicles, I guess. They're popsicles. Just that like popsicles. I would say popsicles.
Wait, are they popsicles or are they not popsicles?
Well, they're popsicles. It's just that I know them under another name too. Like it's called candy ice.
But what makes
And
what makes it different than a popsicle?
the packaging, candy ice come like in a little bag and they're hand tied. Whereas the popsicle, I guess, because of the machines, they just cut them and seal them at the ends, like
Are
the
you talking
Ziploc
about
bags.
like the tubes?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So wait, so candy ice? So none of these have a popsicle stick.
No.
So candy ice, you like pick it up with your hands,
It's yeah, pretty much. It's
like ice
you
cubes.
don't really sort of, but you don't really see them here. It's you don't really see them in America, but they would be considered the popsicles. But for example, in my country, Nicaragua, we make the syrup. You know, we make the juice, and then we get like a Ziploc bag, and we literally put it in a Ziploc bag and just tie it, put it in the freezer, and then you have like a little ball that's an ice ball, favorite ice ball.
Favorite ice ball. So how do you eat that?
Just make a hole on it and just suck on it.
On it?
Yeah,
All right, that sounds like fun. I feel
they're
like you.
pretty. They're good. Those are good. Those I'm actually more a fan of those than the ices that we make, the shave ice that we make.
Yeah, you gotta eat
Same.
the ices fast. That's the one thing. This sounds like it lasts a little bit longer.
Yeah, because it is like a solid. It's a solid piece of ice. It's a solid fruit flavor ice. Delicious. Yes, I agree. And another reason why we haven't done it is we need a freezer that the coolers just don't keep them cold enough. They gotta be constantly frozen.
I mean, I know you can get electricity at the Tiki Market, but because I know people have electricity, they like plug into the light lamppost thing or something.
You know, that might be an interesting concept to bring to the Tiki Market because I know that they sell like these little portable freezers. They're like small, so with like those clear tape with the clear doors. Though that might be something that we might look into trying to add to the market. You know, just to have more variety in our stand.
Well, then you don't have to, if people are buying that, you don't have to be working in that ice machine as much.
No more tennis elbow.
You got to figure out something with that. That thing is funny.
It is. It's been a learning experience. I mean,
I think it needs a on the table. I think like to clamp it onto the table, the machine.
Do I have to?
It seems like you should, because it's trying to. I think it would help. I'm just putting it out there. Get a C clamp, like the pasta machine. You got to clamp it to the table.
You know what? I think that would help. I've never thought about that, but yeah, sometimes I do have the machine act up on me because, like I said, we use the blocks of ice, and then when it gets so small, the blade can't catch on. So then you have the ice just spinning inside all crazy, and it makes the machine just jump and rattle. And yeah, I mean, but you know, I do like after 10,000 servings, I already know that I have to take out that little piece of ice and just put another one in there.
That's true.
So yeah, that'll be a nice little addition. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, that would probably do good on Clematis Street too. Just because
Yes.
people walking around, like bar scene. So cool.
This whole thing has been a learning experience. I mean, I went from selling cars to selling ice. Just and not even like I was saying, I'm not even my strong. I'm not very proficient in the kitchen.
I mean, you're gonna have to learn all the recipes, you know. Your mom's gonna retire sooner or later.
I have. I mean, I've actually. I don't get me wrong. I do know how to do some of the syrups, but when it comes to creating and just having the knowledge, like we just said, the strawberry and balsamic. You told me it's Italian. I mean, I didn't know. I just happened to start watching videos on YouTube, and
I mean,
someone.
I'm saying it's Italian because we kind of take credit for everything, but I'm like 90% sure it's Italian because we also invented balsamic, so you know it's a
There
pretty.
you go. So it might be something that it is. You know, originated from Italy, and then it just got
Italian American.
it got what do you call? It got used into something else. I mean, like I said, I was looking at the ices from Asia, and these guys were doing strawberries with balsamic. They were also doing lemongrass.
It'd be good.
Yeah, so they were. I mean, you could experiment like with the kitchen. I mean, like I'm finding out myself that there's not one specific way to do stuff, or like they say, there's not one way to skin a cow. It is not just one way to skin
Cat.
a cat. There you go.
There's more than one way to skin a cat. Yeah.
Yeah. So we eventually we will be experimenting with new flavors. It's just about nailing something that's popular.
I mean, they're pretty popular. So when I was there, like you had a line and no one else had anyone at their booth, so that was popular. And that was a slow day. That was a rough Sunday over there. But
Yeah, I mean, I think it was you're talking about our first day too. That was our first day in the market.
yeah, and people in Florida who are listening, go check out the Tiki Market in Riviera Beach because I feel like it's like a hidden gem. Like a lot of people don't know about it yet, and it's right on the marina. Like it's a
Yeah,
good day out. Like you can go to the beach, you can go to Peanut Island, get your snacks at the market. Um, you know, and people don't know about it yet. So it's not too good. Do you guys
and then
take
they're
cards?
pretty. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, yes. We do take cards.
And he's part of the 21st century, you know?
Well, you got to get yeah, we got to get up to date. You know, we gotta get with the program.
Yeah, some of them don't. That's why I asked. I was like, yeah. But they always try, all the vendors like, hey, do you take cards? Can you make a transaction for me? So
That'll be a 5% inconvenience fee.
I mean they do give you a cut usually, you know. I just did it. I felt bad. But you know, if you're gonna charge someone like I mean, I don't carry cash now anyway, but if you're like some people are selling like handbags and stuff for like and I'm like, how could you, you know, not have cards?
Yeah, I mean, and being a vendor, I mean, that's something that you have to take into consideration. I mean, now everything's being going touchless and credit cards. So in order to be able to compete or stay alive, you really do have to have means to take other forms of payments. I joke around and tell them I take Bitcoins. But that's just joking around. I mean, I just like to have fun with my customers. I mean, I have music going on, bubble machine. I got a
have the Dogecoin, you know.
Dogecoin, yeah. Oh, it just went up. You seen that?
Yeah.
But yeah, I got a machine. I try to make it an experience for my customers, you know.
Well, you definitely do. I mean, I'm a customer, so I enjoyed myself. I see it's getting dark out over there, so we should wrap it up. So thanks for coming on the podcast, and
Absolutely.
I'll have you on again.
Thank you for inviting me, and to all your customers. We're gonna be at the Tiki Market this Sunday and every Sunday till the market. I think it's gonna take a temporary. They might stop temporarily,
Yeah, they say
But
it's the hottest months when no one wants to go to the beach anyway, because it's like 120 degrees out.
it is hot. It is. You can start to feel the Florida hot weather. I
Yeah.
mean, the past couple of days it's been getting pretty hot. But yeah, if it's not at the Tiki Market, you're gonna be able to find us at Clematis by night, and
And
you'll
all your
see.
social media we'll put in the description. So like you could post, hey, we're at this location at this time, all that other stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And then we're also gonna start experimenting with trying to do parties. So we have our first. We got invited to our first party, not this Saturday, but next Saturday. So we're gonna be crunching ice, a lot of ice that day for party goers or pool party that we got invited to.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Catering. So
So
you could cater your next pool party.
yeah, we could do catering, we could do kids parties, adult parties. I mean, this thing is for everybody. That's for sure. I mean, it's not just one ethnic group that likes it. I mean, you go to the islands and everybody has a different name for it. You go to Asia, they know it. Go to Central South America, they know it. Here in America, I mean, people know
Yeah,
it from.
every culture has their own form of shave ice. They might not call it shave ice, like Italians, we have granita. So we will make the syrup with the water in it already, and then we'll freeze it and
Okay,
then scrape it. Because
so it's sort of like Italian ice.
it is Italian ice, but it's not, like
That's creamy.
supermarket, they have like Italian ice, but it's actually what they're selling is more like Polish water ice. It's not like real Italian ice. It's not like done in the ice cream machine like a sorbet. It's scraped with a fork, so the ice crystals are really big. And that it's different from shave ice because shave ice, the ice is formed without the flavoring in it,
Yeah.
and the syrup's put in it. And what that does is the sugar makes the ice soft. So this way, when you scrape it, it's really easy. You're not breaking your elbow. So that's really the only difference.
Okay.
But yeah, but we could talk more about talk more about frozen dessert later. I think
Awesome.
that you would probably like. You gotta find it about frozen dessert. So we'll put all the links in description. I'm gonna thank everybody for tuning in to Chef Grace's Place and or the Guests of Grace podcast. I think I might change the name of the podcast. Let me know what you think in the comments below. It's a Guests of Grace pod. No, it is Guests of Grace podcast, but I might change it to just the Chef Grace's Place podcast. That's just to make it all one thing. Maybe.
Easier to pronounce.
Yeah, so it's not like two things. It's just one thing.
Right. So thank you for having us on your podcast, Grace.
Yeah. And I can barely see you now. It's dark out. So
Yeah.
all right. Goodbye.
Bye.